And we are interested in knowing what's going on in the Italian internet sphere regarding this form of communication. We have a full panel. We have 3 of the most important and beloved meme creators in Italy with us. And then we have 2 great scholars to discuss with them. So my job is only to welcome you here, to tell you that this is an evening that we conceived with the Ragusa Foundation, that is our next door neighbor, with whom we do a variety of different things, from poetry to music to literature to history and memes. Okay? So it is my great pleasure to invite to address you the president of the Ragusa Foundation, professor of Italian and Comparative Literature at the University of Indiana, Professor Andrea Ciccarelli. Please welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Albertini, for cooperating and collaborating with us. I would like to thank Lucia Casiraghi, who had the original idea about all this, because as you can see from my gray hair, I'm not exactly the social media type, as you can imagine. But I'm very pleased, and I thank, of course, our 3 memers, I should say, I don't know, memers, because I think they are really doing something exceptional. And I will introduce the 3 of them, and then I will introduce Professor Andrea Capra, who I thank as well for participating to this panel, and Lucia Casiraghi later on. I present them in alphabetical order, but they will speak in a little bit in a different... Actually, Monica, you're going to be the first one, right? So, Monica Magnani is a social media manager, copywriter, and memer. She holds a master in linguistics and communication from the Catholic University of Milan. And she is the author of the successful meme page Vabbè Raga. Her professional activity centers on artistic, editorial, and educational activities. And she participates in public events and contributes to research projects, interviews, pop articles, and books. Her interests focus on language studies, with particular attention to the sociolinguistic analysis of new media and the exploration of complex narrative worlds. Monica Magnani's new experimental novel is forthcoming for Momo Edizioni, but the title is still a secret because it's forthcoming, so we are not allowed to mention the title. Giulio Armeni will speak second, so we are not going in alphabetical order, but in order how they will speak. Giulio Armeni is a writer, comedian, and a memer. Since 2010, he has run the popular satirical project Filosofia Coatta. Finally, I learned Filosofia thanks to Giulio's project, which has a huge number of followers. He teaches at the Holden School of Contemporary Humanities in Turin, and collaborates, amongst others, with the online cultural magazine Luci, sulla cultura, as well as with the Treccani Encyclopedia. Since 2022, he has been touring Italy with his meme show Fuga dall'algoritmo, Escape from the Algorithm. In 2023, he won the Premio Satira Forte dei Marmi, and was included in the Italian Forbes Under 30 list, one of the richest under 30. No, one of the richest. You were not in that Forbes list. He has a new collection of short stories, which are forthcoming with. He has a new novel. I apologize. He has a new novel coming out with Einaudi. Again, the title is a secret because it's forthcoming. All these things that didn't used to be. You could actually, once writers wanted you to mention the titles 3 years before it would come out. Now we have to be very careful. And finally, last but not least, Marianna Boiano is a social media manager at a communication agency and a memer. She holds a degree in digital communication from the University of Pavia. Communication, both through traditional media and new digital assets, has always been at the core of her interest. She's passionate about the intersection of visual arts and pop culture. In her extremely popular Instagram page, Crudelia Memon, she jots down her thoughts, in which she associates daily experiences and social commentaries with artistic imagery drawn from cinema, literature, and visual arts. Please welcome Giulio, Monica, and Maria.
This is me. Hello, everybody. And first of all, sorry for my English. Like Sofia Vergara said, you don't know how clever I am in Italian. And Vaberaga, it means like, all right, guys. I don't know if you speak Italian or not. And okay, this is me and me. And we have a dreamer and a memer. And to better understand why I'm here, it's essential to know that my artistic or mimetic vision revolves around three specific topics, like figures of speech, like synesthesia, my favorite one, and the pure word, like in a linguistic way. I really like to play with the role of meaning and signifier, and of course folklore. But what is the first question you have to say? Like, what is a meme? In this slide, I will not really explain what a meme is, but I want to discuss with you what interests me about memes and psychology, because memes can be a part of social genetics. They are like cultural gene. In this case, you can share memes. You can share the meaning about memes, like a virus. And for me, this is really important because this puts sharing like the focal point of communication. And what is a meme for me? I have this is you know that guy. There are like three pillars for me that are really important to understand how my philosophy about memes. They are a perfect place, and this is really important because memes for me are a place, are something real. You can touch a meme like in real life. They can create a social hub and what I call a public square. They are democratic in the way of creating things, like everybody can create a meme with an idea or something they want to share with others. And they are an insight, an inspiration, an image, and a thought. So they're the best way to speak of everything. This is for me. For those of you who studied psychology and sociology things, this is not a new thing, but communication is a ritual. A ritual, a sociological ritual, is when you express yourself and then you change yourself in this process of ritualization. We have two people, like a subject A or B or more, and between these two people we have a message, an insight, an image, concept, and this concept can be a meme. And the most important things about this is that the ritual enables the creation of a we, because we intend a collective identity. This is the most important thing for me. This collective identity is the place I share my meme. In fact, in internet, this ritual takes place in the virtual place. We all share a virtual place that is something that we can touch, is something that we see every day. And what do I share in my meme square? So what I speak about different topics that I really like, I'm affectionate to, like synesthesia. This figure of speech, I use this in an unusual way because, this figure of speech is to mix different senses to create something new. In this case, we have how I imagine the Scittramondi and how I imagine the Silly Sunday. Especially the Sunday, I really like the Sunday because we have something that Italians really agree with, like Kafka, the Uroboro, Milan or Silent Hill is basically the same, and something about Pianura Padana. Then we have, oh my God, then we have my favorite thing, real pleasant places. Toponymy is a a way to know people that came before us saw the world. And I use these places, real places in Italy, like little pieces of puzzle to create my own world. And I translated some of them for you. I will not say anything, I just vibing. Pleasure. Booty Chicks Gate or St. Simon's. Disclaimer, these are real places. Mini Cookie Bridge and Poop Hard. This is Italy. We have we have a ton of names like this. And the last one, I have a bestiary. Because I unconsciously create characters and I put them in my memes, and they're just part of Vaberaga's lore. This is a really video game-like thing for me. We have, first one is Horribalto, and this specific pic, not every balto you can see on internet, this specific pic. For me, this is the iconography of lust and desire. I use him for everything, especially when it's unnecessary. And we have some examples with Easter, Christmas, Election Day, Liberation Day, everything. Then we have a salami with feet. I really love this one because for me it represents hope and innocence, and he's a bit naive. This anthropomorph being is created by a famous Italian comic author, Iacoviti. I don't know if you know him. I really love his works. And the last one is Trenus Curegia, and this was really difficult to translate, and Ciccarelli and Lucia recommend me to not translate anything, but Scuregia in Italian, in the dialect, is fart. For me, this is the perfect reincarnation of what is to be Italian in Italy. I quote Sisyphus, saying that this is the absurdity of human existence, embodying futile, never-ending labor and the eternal struggle in the meaningless universe. In Italy, trains don't work. It is like this. That's it. Thanks. It's time for Giulio now.
Hi, I'm Giulio Armeni, and this is my passport, so I'm not an illegal immigrant. I'm very happy to be here. I assure you that on normal days I have a perfect British accent. But when I'm happy, instead, I have something like this.
It's ocean of generosity. This is too much. You are generous. This is, and how do you say when?
So today I'm in my Benigni mode because I'm happy. My stage name is Filosofia Coatta. It doesn't really translate in English, but it's something like thug philosophy, maybe. And I use memes to do satire. And I take scenes that we've all seen and I change them through writing. And I have a meme about Trump. But this is how it feels to sneak memes about Trump through a US airport right now. Narcos meme. But I have a meme about Trump, this one. You all remember this day, but what actually happened? Well, we are all here waiting for Mr. Zelensky, and he doesn't show, very disrespectful. Mr. President, I'm here. That madman is playing with World War III, but I'm here. Ungrateful, I set aside an entire afternoon for him, but he will pay me back every minute. I'm here, I'm here. Too bad for him. If he doesn't come, we'll proceed with the Grand Hotel Zaporizhia. What? Is he coming or not? I didn't think camouflage would camouflage that much. I've got to run. I have a negotiation table at 9 sharp. Have you booked, right? For 2, under Putin. Great. This was a room of one's own. I do satire about America, but you already know America. I do satire about Italy, but maybe you don't know Italy. So I want to do a quick check with you on Italian stereotypes. Are we Catholic? Yes, I am. I love going to Mass, but only once a year, especially when they drop a new pope. I live in Rome, I can do that. I have the Pope Factory next door. And this year we got an American Pope. Do you remember his first Urbi et Orbi speech? Hi, could you write me an Urbi et Orbi speech with many references to peace? Sorry, I read the prompt. This was Pope GPT. By the way, my uncle Rino commented on that meme. I have an uncle who lives in Las Vegas and supports Trump. He commented this. Only an American Pope and Trump can bring peace to the world. It didn't age well. Number 2, we love cinema. Of course, we love cinema. I love going to cinema, but only once a year. Do you remember when we won the Oscar with Benigni? And the Oscar for the manspreading goes to Roberto. He deserves it. He deserves it. We love music. We love music. True. In fact, I listen to music, but only once a year. During the Sanremo Festival. So Sanremo is the most popular song festival in Italy, and in Italy we all watch it, everyone. And this is more or less how they introduce each singer. The next artist is truly the best of the best. Just think. Over 70 billion streams, 200 platinum records, 900 sold-out stadiums. He's obliterated the internet, dominated the international charts, brutalized the metric system. He rules an empire twice the size of the Mongol one, and he even boasts a 20-pound winner. But first, a monologue about the importance of accepting yourself for who you are. And last but not least, do we love mafia? True, of course. In fact, I kill people for money, but only once a year. That's why I go to Mass once a year, so I can confess. No, seriously, in Italy we have this problem. The mafia is a real problem. It's just that mafiosi don't dress like this, but they're like this. I recently found out that in Rome, my city, Rome, 80% of restaurants in the city center launder mafia money. So every time I get a pizza downtown, 80% goes to the mafia. That's why I'm always angry. But not all Italians are pro-mafia. In fact, we have a judge who fights it. His name is Nicola Gratteri. He's a hero. He's been living under police protection for 30 years. I really respect him, and I have this meme with him. There is a link between mafia and AI. Both pretend to be human. Let's say you're shown photos of 2 businessmen in suits and ties. One is honest, the other is mafia-generated. What do you answer? Until recently, you would zoom in on the hands and notice rings or missing fingers. Now they're perfect hands. And this confusion applies to restaurants, nightclubs, clinics. Many of them, to save money or speed things up, are mafia-generated. The mafias have long since passed the Turing test. I can talk to a mafioso and not even realize it. Even a meme that appears to be against the mafias can be mafia-generated. a charismatic, incorruptible public figure you trust suddenly tells you it's all pointless, that you can't stop the mafias, and that evil is not in the mafias, but in how it is used. And therefore, we should invest in it, because we will use it well. Switch to mafia, we're hiring. This was mafia generated. So, finally, what is the power of memes for me? Memes can create parallel words. Do you know this meme? It's called the word if. For example, the word if the US didn't try to export democracy. And I think imagining other words, even absurd ones, might be the first step toward changing the real world. Thank you. One last. This talk was sponsored by Pizzeria Soprano. Thank you.
Hi, and here I am without my 6 p.m. ginseng at Caffè Matteotti. But let's take a step back. This in media res start could be misleading. I'm Marianna. I'm the admin of Crudelia-marimò. That is the translation of Crudelia de Vil, because in Italian we say Crudelia-marimò, Crudelia-demon, that is a sort of similar sound of with memon. But can we separate Marianna and Crudelia, or it's a sort of union of these two functions? Because there's a lot of Marianna in my page in Crudelia-marimò. Ultimately, it's all about communication, and communication is a word that says everything and nothing. I studied communication in all my school career, and since I was a little girl, I spend a lot of time in front of Pewter, the friendly name of computer. And guess what? Now I work for a communication agency. Actually, here with us, communication is a lot far away, and now I need an extremely urge of my ginseng coffee. The ginseng coffee in Italy is a type of coffee with the ginseng roots, and a little more sweet than the actually Americano coffee. So now my biological alarm clock say, pamper yourself with your ginseng coffee at Caffè Matteotti of Pavia. Because the European mind is all ear, it has the focus based on the breakfast at the coffee shop. We call it the bar, but the concept of bar is a little bit different from the coffee shop. Italians make the most important decision in these places, in a sort of anti-aesthetic places. It's important because if we look at a very attentive eyes, if you look these photos, we can see that is Spanish. But can I Italianize this concept? And this is the bar. This is Lucio Dalla, a famous Italian singer, and this is the anti-aesthetic bar, the more far away from the Italia core, the dolce far niente, the colorful images of what Italians would transmit with this concept. because I always get angry when the imaginary of Italy is this, so colorful, so a lot of salt, a lot of olive, a lot of tan, a lot of blue, a lot of tomatoes, because this excluding this reality. This is especially on the country, on the block, on the northwest of my lands. And the Italia Core, the Dolce Far Niente, the edits of the Love of Italy makes these edits so rarefied and fake, because they truly Italians know very well these places. And these precisely non-places the most relatable names are born. Because everything is based on a sort of dualism between two types of bar. In this case, we have the prestigious, high premium confectionery bar. On the other hand, we have the anti-aesthetic bar, so most normal, with maybe the football match on the screen. You can really find a different fauna depending on the bar, on the coffee shop decide to go. Because we have the lab-like, the Officina del Caffè, or ex-lab converted to a cafeteria. In these places we can find some type of fauna very different from the other type of bar jolly, bar Matteotti, and bar sport. Well, from this presentation you probably understand little, but a very thing is certain. I spend a lot of time in my time in this anti-aesthetic bar, and this say a lot of me, a lot of my person. I truly found a really connection when I create these memes in these specific places, and the community found these memes very relatable, and this create a beautiful connection with the page. Thank you for your attention, and now we can have our fifth breakfast of the day.
Thank you, Monica, Giulia, and Marianna. And now we will have a roundtable discussion, which will be led by Andrea Capra. Of course, everybody knows Professor Capra. He's assistant professor here of Italian at New York University. Andrea Capra earned a laurea at the University of Milan Statale and a PhD in Italian Studies at Stanford University. And before joining New York University, he was a constant postdoctoral fellow at the Princeton Society of Fellows. Professor Capra's scholarship is rooted in modern and contemporary Italian culture, as well as on topics ranging from horror studies and the philosophy of technology to the role of internet culture in American politics. He is the author of many journal articles and of one forthcoming book, Ordinary Horror, The Aesthetics of Deformation from Leopardi to Ferrante, Stanford University Press. Currently, he is working on a second book for Sellerio Editore, entitled Weird New World, on the role of internet subcultures in the rise of the new American right, analyzing how cyberspace is no longer simply leaking into the real world, but actively creating it. The other moderator is Lucia Casiraghi, who is assistant professor at the University of Rochester, and she directs the University of Rochester summer program in Italy, Sustainability, Food and Local Cultures. Professor Casiraghi has earned a PhD in Italian Studies at Indiana University after having earned a BA and MA in Linguistics at the University of Pavia. She's working on a book on the language of social media in Generation Z in Italy. She has published numerous journal articles on the language of social media with a focus on the sociolinguistic role of Italian dialects. She has also published on the relationship of social media and environmental studies, and she's currently working on community-engaged learning and the integration of digital tools and contemporary narratives in the language classroom. Please join me in welcoming Professor Capra and Professor Casiraghi.
All right, it's always lovely to be blinded by the light while sitting on this podium. Very nice to see all of you. Thank you so much for these 3 really engaging talks. I've been following the 3 of you from afar for quite some time, and I'm very pleased to be meeting you. We'll have some time, to kind of chat, the 5 of us, and then we will open it up to the public. Perhaps I will start, by asking something very much about, your upbringing and your life, right? Because, lots of people know you through your Instagram page. I suspect that, some of the people who follow you know how you look like. I mean, some of you have, like a real profile picture that depicts, your real face and so on and so forth. But you're mostly known for what you create, in the cyberspace, so to speak. I just wanted to ask you, how did you develop this interest in, creating memes, in internet culture? I mean, did you grow up online? Were you chronically online even when you were teenagers? What was going on that ended up, creating these 3 figures that now have taken over your life?
And yes, I'm not the expert of memes here. Marianna and Monica are very expert, more than me. But probably our passion for memes is born for me is born during the COVID-19 experience, because in that period of time we were chronically online, every one of us. So I personally I discovered this culture. It was like underground cultures. And there were no politicians that posted memes like right now with Donald Trump. So it was underground, and I met this culture. That's the way it goes for me.
Same as Giulio, but I think that passion is not the right word to describe our works, because for me it's a need. I need to express myself in different ways, and through images on internet. That is, for me, a virtual plaza it's wonderful. It's really the right thing to do when you come back to work or when you relax, and it's something that is for me just a sociological imprinting to our generation. For me.
Yes, it's an urge, because we commuting a lot, we spend a lot of time of public transport, and in these places, in these anti-aesthetic places, as I said, the process of memes, the process of share is essential for me, for Monica. The constant need to ask to our community if this content is relatable, and we really find beautiful when this content is a lot of shareable, a lot of relatable and so shareable. But as your first question, as I said, I spend a lot of time during my childhood, during my teenage, a lot of computers. So the first era of Marianna, we can call the public, the community on Facebook. The memes were created in these places, and so I create memes for others big pages, and then at a certain point of my life I decide to open my page and create a constant contents for my community, and so.
Yes, I would like to ask a follow-up question on what actually Professor Capra just asked you and what you just discussed, which is there's an article that I believe Giulio shared with me a couple of months ago by Alessandro Lolli, and it was published on the Tascabile, Treccani. And it was titled, Memes Are Dead. So why are we still talking about memes if they're dead? And part of that argument was that memes are dead because they're not present anymore in their initial forms. They have evolved. And I'm curious to ask you how your career or your meme creation processes have evolved in time, which is something that we people who have known you for a while might have noticed. And the very reason why we're here today, I believe, is also because memes were initially described as content that is not really, cannot be attributed to a single author. But the reason why we're here today is because you are recognizable as meme authors, right? So I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this death of memes and their evolution?
Hey, Lucia. That's a very difficult question to answer to, because when you say the death of memes, it is important to speak about algorithm and capitalism in internet. And memes are dead for this specific reason. And the default is on TikTok, ADV, and just the way we consume medias. And I think that Giulio, me, and Marianna are here because we are author. We have a vision, and it's not easy to say that memes are dead, because every day we scroll on internet and there are plenty of memes, but they're lacking of something. I don't know if you just noticed that, but there's something missing in memes, and I think this something is on the time we pass on internet. I know it's something difficult to imagine, but I think it's something about how we consume this media. Something is changing, and I noticed it when I start seeing contents of war. Basically, I saw meme and someone killed by someone, and this was strange, and at the same time, marketing will never stop, and this process is like accelerating something for me. I don't know if I answered your question, but
no. On one side, for me, meme is like eternal. Because the Homeric poem is a meme, because it replicates itself through the centuries. It's like it works like a meme. Filastrocche, how do you say filastrocche?
Thank you.
Exactly. So on one side, memes are eternal, and it's like human culture is made of memes. On the other side, maybe internet memes are not dead, they are everywhere. So maybe they seem dead because you can't see it anymore, but it's like a virus. It's everywhere, but it's invisible. But at one side, yes, they are dead in the because they are not, because the internet memes was born as anti-conformistic. He was born as an underground culture, and when Donald Trump posts a meme, so memes are dead. Maybe in this way are dead. In our experience, I think meme is we have different passions, or come le chiamate? Different needs. My passion or my need, my urge is writing. So I use memes to do writing, to do writing, and I think memes are our common ground. Our humus in Italian is our common ground.
Yeah, I think that in the past the memes were more connected to the template. We all remember the baby girl in front of the fiery house, or the little child crying, or maybe doing these faces in front of the camera. And that was a sort of template that reiterates during the years, and now this little girl and this little boy maybe are adult. Now the contents are more fast, are rapid. That there's the Nike trends, the micro trends that have a very short life. So in this rapidity, for maybe this three wave of vision, it's a sort of slowdown. Maybe there's a sort of little detail that can be shared with the community, and memes in these cases are the perfect way to communicate these anti-Nike microtrends. And so maybe is the last anchor from this death.
If I may jump in, I think that it's perhaps high time to start really thinking about memes as a genre, right? I mean, one of the basic definitions that one can provide of a meme is that it's a fixed template that accommodates change, right? You have like the iconic image of, Pepe the Frog or any sort of other, kind of meme that stays the same with slight variations, either in the image itself or in the text, right? And if one thinks about it, this is also how a genre works, right? I mean, a genre is ultimately kind of a template that accommodates a great range of different options and possibilities. So I like what you said about, what the three of you said, in different ways about a meme being a way of funneling your desire to write, to produce, right, to compose something, because that's indeed also what a new genre does, right? It gives a voice in a different way to people who are seeking a particular voice, and they're trying to find the right one. So I think that that's a very productive way of understanding what a meme is, also from a perspective that is more tied to kind of intellectual history, continuation of forms, and so on and so forth. Because these are cultural phenomena. These are not just like stuff that floats there, in the internet, in the ether, right? These will be cultural artifacts that will meaningfully speak about our society in the future. So the question that I want to ask you is connected to my little rambling about the history of genres and memes, and it's really about why do you think that so many meme creators or content creators, and surely the three of you, bring so much of what can be said to constitute a form of philosophical discourse or theoretical discourse, right? I mean, philosophia coatta, indeed it's in the name. We were talking about Sisyphus before, and even just on my, social feeds, there are so many memes or templates for memes that, quote philosophers such as, Camus, Deleuze. So it becomes like a social currency, right? And so my question is twofold. The first one is, do you see the same thing happening in Italy, just like it's happening here in New York, that many more people see memes on Deleuze than, the books of Deleuze that they have? And second, why do you think that this format or this genre can be, particularly helpful to also kind of revitalize perhaps a little bit of, philosophical discourse, be it only to popularize it and convince people that it's actually something worthwhile what we do?
There's something in memes that speaks about philosophy. It's certainly this is sure, because I studied philosophy, and now so many boys and girls, so many guys make theses about memes, dissertations about memes. A lot of philosophy. That's not casualty, but I don't understand why. I don't. Maybe it's like because people who study philosophy, they are interested in languages, in new languages, and also semiotic studies maybe. and meme is like a language. So maybe it's that kind of interest, maybe.
I was thinking about what you said, and a question popped up in my mind. Why we link meme with virtual reality of internet? Is it the right thing to do? For me, memes, even ancient Roman did memes for me. Because we're speaking about this social cultural gene, and it's just something we want to share with others. Well, I think that your question has a lot of layers, and one of them is about media, in general media. And medias are ruled by a language, a specific language for each media. And when you meet a new media, you learn a language, and internet has a specific and complex layered language that is really difficult to understand. And I think it's not the right thing to do to say that memes are only on internet, because if we put internet down, I think that all of us we continue to do art. Simply do art, because we have simply something to say, to share. We have a vision, and for me, it's just like that. I think.
You mentioned Sisyphus, or maybe the Ouroboros we see on the slide of Monica, and I think that in these precise times, there's a sort of a wave of the quotidianity of the myths. When you mention Sisyphus, I instantly think to the memes associated to Sisyphus with the action of cleaning dishes, because we eat and we clean dish. We eat and we clean dishes. So it's an eternal circle, or an eternal put up the stone and the stone come off. And so this concept of quotidianity of myths is a sort of way to familiarize with these ancient concepts, ancient myths, and make them more shareable with the community, and maybe also make the community curious about these myths, and so passionate them successively. So this specific concept of myths in the quotidianity is a sort of a trend that persists in these times.
Thank you, everyone. I have a question about, so you were talking about the language of memes, and I was curious to talk about also the languages that you use in your memes. Today you had to translate some of your popular memes, and I'm sure it was challenging. I wanted to refer to what Valentina Tanni says in Exit Reality. She talks about the concept of vibes, right, and atmospheres and aesthetics. So in a sense, the use of the visual part of a meme helps you connect on a global level with people from your generation, for example, because you share some references with that. But then you also make it local through the use of, especially in your case, the use of local languages and local references. So how do you play between these two dimensions of a global references that are shared by Gen Zers, for example, and local elements that can be recognized only by certain communities that follow you?
I think it's just something mixed, but it's mixed by our personal experience on internet, because simply I do experience of my dialect, and then we have Trinus Curegia, and at the same time I see memes or news or concepts in internet by all over the world. So it's just the way we live our lives in internet, and internet is a radical part of our quotidianity. Our routine includes internet, so we just simply do a summary of what we see, and the dialect or hyper-specific local things are just part of what we live every day. And plus, I love linguistics, and so I just try to put something in dialect or something in my memes.
I use vibes because I use faces of political and in my memes of famous people, globally famous people like Trump, are also people we know only in Italy. But I've learned this thing on the internet and making memes, that every face, every famous face is an icon. It's an icon of something, and brings some vibes with it and some meaning. So Donald Trump has certain vibes. Our premier Giorgia Meloni has other vibes. It's like very very popular. We say coatta in Italy. My name is Filosofia Coatta. Coatta you can translate into thug, but it's more like something very Roman. It's coatta, and so every face that I use has vibes, and every face is like a mask. So, and this is a very Italian way of expression, because we are the country of commedia dell'arte, no, of comedy and Arlecchino, Pulcinella, popular mask. And we had Arlecchino, Pulcinella, and now we have Berlusconi with the bandana. This is the vibes we are looking for.
I think that the vibe is essential in our memes, and I think that this concept of use of dialect in our memes is a lot of connected to the so-called fen inglese that Beppe Fenoglio used in Partisan Johnny, for example. Because in this particular book, Beppe Fenoglio, that is from my places, my Piedmont, he uses very well the concept of mixed dialect, English, Italian pure, and create a sort of mix that was essential for that the book that wanted to share with the past community. And so the sort of create a sort of mix, maybe understand at first and misleading at first, but if we can just vibe with the rhythm of that text of our memes, it is finally a sort of vibe of this this change that at the end it's just very imperceptible, and so it's very similar concept, this mix of dialect, Italian, English, and to create a sort of shareable content.
I'm interested in your mention of Fenoglio, because I would like to ask the three of you who are your artists, like, right? I mean, you self-define, or at least some of you would self-identify as an artist, and I'm just curious to hear if you have any particular name, and be they philosophers, painters, literary authors, that in some complex, perhaps opaque way, have in some way deeply affected the creation of your character and also of your memes.
For me, it's Italo Calvino. I think everybody knows who Italo Calvino is here. I see people say, okay. And I simply love his way to write, to depict reality. I use his books as a relief. And I don't know, I just vibe with Italo Calvino. I love when he took the Nobel, he was like in a corner, silent, just shy, and then he won the Nobel. He was quite a personality, and I just like his surrealism, like magic realism, but Italian. It's very local, and I love it.
I think that his American lessons are actually a masterclass in how to create memes. The lessons that he gave at Harvard about velocity and so on and so forth. There is so much there that I think one could do to really unpack what a meme is and how a meme circulates in that text by Calvino. Actually, I hadn't thought about that, but I think that that's a very interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to show you off. I was just like vibing with Calvino.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And a special mention to the chiasmo di Ariosto. Come lo dico? Chiasmo.
Yeah, chiasmos.
Ariosto's chiasmo. It's perfect to create a meme. If you want to create a meme, just put these chiasmos, and then you can write on it, and then ta-da, a meme. It's simple like this.
Maybe I have references, some writers. Maybe I never thought about this in my life, but it's the first time I'm thinking it live. Maybe Borges. I know it's not Italian, but Borges for the alternative words. Because if I think about my memes, it's like a way to rewrite history that we are living, and Borges, in certain way, did this. And maybe I have to quote an Italian one, because we are Casa della Cultura. So maybe I pick Leopardi, Giacomo Leopardi, because of the humor. Yeah, maybe you laugh because you imagine Leopardi, Gobbo, and and crying. But he was a comedian. He was a stand-up comedian, in my opinion.
As the Leopardian in chief of Casa Italiana, I agree with that. So.
For me, surely Beppe Fenoglio and Cesare Pavese, because they both of my zone, the places of Piedmont, so they speak very well of this specific northwest of Italy. In particular, I love of Cesare Pavese the letters, because in these letters we can find a very frustrated man, but also lovely men that use a lot of dialect, a lot of slangs, Italian slangs in this letter, and is very informal, and because there's a very division between the high book, high premium book, and the letters, and in these letters is very poor. And also Beppe Fenoglio, because I love his vision and his way to communicate and mix language. So this Piedmont core.
Great. Yes, I think that we actually should open it up to the audience. So if there are any questions, we should have a roaming microphone moving around. Okay, do you want to? Yeah, okay, great.
Ciao, I'm Francesca from Torino. I just wanted to know how you stay inspired. I know there's lots of meme pages on internet, so I was wondering how you avoid copying each other, and how do you deal with stay on top of current events, and if you ever feel like I have to post about this, and if you have like a content calendar, how you deal with that?
the secret is that we copy each other. So I personally copied Mimer before me. His name was Logo Comune, and he makes this single frame scene with subtitles, but he did with only one image, and I extended it to 10 images. And this is my work, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately. So I have to post, and I always post about what happens in the world. So I wake up in the morning and I read the newspapers. It's like a cursed version of the journalism. Maybe it's quite similar. So this is my personal way of living this need, this urge.
For me, I spend a lot of time commuting, so a lot of time on train, or a lot of time in my me time during this anti-aesthetic coffee shop, and like Bersani, so put this in this pose, I write the most shareable thoughts in my app notes. And during in the breakfast, I read a lot of news. So maybe I try to visualize my vision to transmit that news in my type of vision. So, and is this process of read, assimilate this news, and convert in my way of my way of I see that new. So this is the process.
And like Giulio said, there are topics that can be shared, like summer, like how much we hate Giorgia Meloni, or something like that. But I think that we all have a specific vision to see things and to communicate things, so we can maybe speak about the same topic, but the output will be different. And personally, I hate to be reactive on news, on the latest news. I don't know why, because I feel the pressure. And sometimes I'm like avoidant with the latest news, but sometimes I just do the meme when it's time. That's it.
Hi. First of all, thank you for the conversation that we had. I'm a big fan, and I have a question for Marianne and Monica. I was very interested in the thoughts you devoted to the materiality of your internet spaces and of the social spaces that you make the memes in. And I think it's also very interesting how this materiality translates into the memes itself that you make, because I feel like they all have this kind of like pixelated materiality to them, this kind of like this, there's this fascination with the replica, there's this fascination with the archival also research, and also the materiality of the digital archive in a way. And if you can say a little bit more about your relationship to the materiality of the social spaces that you make the memes in, and the materiality of the form of the memes that you make. Thank you.
I think that the materiality, it can be seen, especially for my memes, because in these memes, I put very often the cut, in my memes I create a sort of tela, come si dice, canvas that I put in this I visualize the meme like a canvas, and in this canvas I put the very precise concept that I want to transmit, and especially very often the concept that I would transmit that not a the stock images of a plant, but that specific plant with that specific pattern, and so the materiality can be seen and in a way become a very we can quite touch the meme. So the materiality, in my case, it is because I searched the very centered picture to transmit that concept. Maybe if I want to speak about glasses of water, if I put the Nutella glasses of early 2000, early 2000, I put the Nutella glasses of The Incredibles, of Looney Tunes, and this precise concept of glasses transmit the materiality, I think. So, for me.
Yeah, I felt that because, you know, I have a section of my phone with an incredible number of photos that just create the imaginary I want to share. For me, the key word is world building. I just want a precise world to show to other people, like the bar. If I search the bar, and bar in Italian way, I'm not happy if I saw a generic bar, minimalistic millennial bar. I want the same bar my grandpa went to. So I search until I find the specific bar I just want. I don't. It's just something that you can create. World building is the perfect word to describe this, in my opinion.
Hi. This is mainly a question for Monica, but you're all commuters, so I'm interested in all of your perspectives. You're in New York. I assume you use the subway while you're here, right? Yeah. Okay. How does it compare to the Treno Scureggia? And, you know, if Treno Scureggia is like an encapsulation of, you know, the Italian spirit or whatever, what does it say? Like, what does the New York City subway say about the American spirit? Does it say anything?
I was okay. I was surprised the first time I saw the subway because I was expecting something hyper technology, something like wow, I'm in Japan, and I liked the subway in New York. I think it's really clean. I don't know. Come to Italy and see what you. But I don't know if you saw the ADV of lawyers. Pain, call me. It's out of my. I was like out of speech. I don't know how to translate my surprise to see this kind of ADV in the subway. They're fantastic. I'm creating a ton of content about this type of ADV.
They're memes.
They're memes. There was an eagle, and on top of an eagle there was a lawyer, and they were flying, and there was, oh my God, but they're living like in the future. It is this wonderful, and maybe the subway of New York is your Treno Scureggia. I don't know. It depends on your experience, on your personal experience. I can assure you that in Italy, train doesn't work. It's not. There's not a personal experience. There's only one collective bad experience in Italy about trains. And.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. It was a delightful and very present presentation from all of you. there's from this work in this emerging field, applying the meme to content creation, to balancing the immediacy of having to create that quickly and taking in as much information that is relevant to that meme as possible. I wonder sometimes how challenging it might be to continue to have a building of background information for each type of project that you might engage in going forward.
Che tipo di, cioè, visto l'evoluzione del genere, di che progetti vi date come progetti futuri? Se con qualche
But it's in this time it's like I feel the need to come back to writing. So it's like the memes have been a wonderful trip for me, like a trip in the subway of New York in Treno Scureggia. But now it's time to come back to writing. But I'll never leave memes. I'll never leave memes because I have understood that they live in us. They live in us. So it's not a goodbye. It's this our reality in this time.
I think that here with us, it's a really wonderful experience that in the past could never be happen, because memers were not so appreciated, so much respect at the content creator. And it's very important for me, for us, to be here in this occasion, in this wonderful occasion, because we have the opportunity to talk about our vision. And I think, like Giulio, that I never leave my concept of my way of see the things through memes. And I think that after New York could be the open of new doors, so maybe new countries to have us to speak memes, so extend this our vision maybe in our countries, and maybe the figure of memer could be elevated, could be more considered respect in the past.
And for me, I'm thankful that memes allow me to do such things like talking to you in this occasion, or writing books, or writing articles. And memes for me are a place, and I want to stay in this place. I just hope to do more new, different things that allow the three of us to express ourselves.
Stefano.
Yes, we have two questions from people that are watching from home. They're both Marco. One is Marco Argiulo that is asking a question similar to this one, but it's more about the future of comicity. And do you see what could be the next frontier for comics? Is there life beyond memes? One. Second question from another Marco Boscato. Can we consider memes as a form of global communication, or are they they're still nation-oriented or limited to geographical zones? So you decide who answers what question, and I think with this we're going to close, and we'll leave it to Andrea to close.
Okay. The most funny thing in memes is when it's geographically located. It's like we are talking about. I would talk hours about subway in New York. And I have this meme show. It's called Escape from Algorithm, and in every I bring it around Italy, and in every place I go, I have to know the local lore. the local memes. So I began every show with the local memes. So if one day I will take Escape from Algorithm in New York, I'm sure that I will begin with Subway. In Subway, that claim in the Subway, don't be the story of someone, the Subway story of someone. This was the meme of our journey, because we secretly want to become the Subway story of someone. And so the future of comedy, maybe the stand-up comedians already pick the memes. They use it, but it's dangerous because memes are often very ephemeral. So you have to be you have to be good to take memes that last that last more than 1 week or one day.
For me, it's the same as Giulio, and I want to add that memes don't have to be funny. It's not something that has to be like this. You don't have to laugh reading memes. Memes can just tell a particular way of reality or a specific vision, but they can tell really a lot. They are layered. So you can just understand a lot from just a meme.
And as Nanni Moretti said, far ridere è una cosa seria. So to make laugh is a serious thing. And to answer to a question to Marco Boscato, that I would say hi because Marco is my friend. And the concept of make a meme very local, or also if global thing, is a sort of mix, a sort of a synergy, because we make a local concept globally. A local concept we make we communicate in a global way, and in a global concept we communicate in a local way. So it's a sort of mix of the two things.
Great. I think that this is a good moment to end our conversation. So please join me in thanking our speakers for tonight.